If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S.
The madness begins, or it continues. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we got Donald Trump putting tariffs on Canada, multiple meltdowns happening. We've got Doug Ford blasting him, saying that he's going to cut off the power to almost 2 million Americans. He's cutting off the flow of the stumbling juice. And we've got a rumor that Donald Trump will be pulling America out of NATO. Let's jump into this. First up, we got polling data from Shreya Teest here. This comes from Palace Data Quebec poll modeled out. First off, PQ party here 31.6%, and the Liberals at 21.6%, Conservatives at 19.5%. Modeled out, that'd be 77 seats for the PQ, Liberals 32, with Parti Québécois majority government. We also got this one from Table Salt. It says Norway considers tapping into the world's largest sovereign wealth fund to offer more support to Ukraine without breaking the 4% annual withdrawal law. We'll consider converting $200 billion into loans to build European defense. The world needs. Interesting to see if this happens. So we've got a whirlwind of news here coming out of America. Donald Trump has made a deal here with TSMC, microchip manufacturer from Taiwan, for $100 billion. First off, we got the CEO of Taiwan Semiconductor here. We'll just put a snippet of this guy in here because it's kind of hard to understand.
Many AI chips. We're going to produce many chips to support the AI.
So he just keeps saying, support chips for AI, we got it.
The products that TSMC makes are literally the most important products in the world. I mean, these advanced chips power everything. They power AI, they power your phone, they power your cars. Without them, the whole modern economy would stop, but they're not made in the United States. So for TSMC to move here is a huge, huge development. And we owe that to President Trump's leadership on the economy and Secretary Lutnick as well. And Cece, thank you for coming here. Thank you.
And Cece, thanks for coming. Yeah, thanks for the investment. More like. Moving ahead, we've got this post by Donald Trump. It says, tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. It says unconfirmed reports that President Trump will announce that the U.S. is leaving NATO in his joint address to U.S. Congress tomorrow. While this is only a rumor, when we have speeches like this coming from Keir Starmer in UK, says here he gives a stern warning to Trump, and Trump's not the kind of guy who likes stern warnings.
The mineral deal is not enough on its own. But can I just remind him, Russia is the aggressor. Zelensky is a war leader whose country has been invaded. And we should all be supporting him and not fawning over Putin.
Putin must be loving this situation. The U.S. is done supporting the Ukraine conflict. We got Donald Trump here amidst the stock market crashing in America, hinting on potentially pulling out of NATO, as it says here. Tariffs on 25% of America's biggest trade allies will likely pull the U.S. out of NATO tomorrow in a joint session of Congress. There's not enough champagne in Russia tonight.
The United States has been taken advantage of for 40 years. The United States has been a laughingstock for years and years. That's why this gentleman is built in Taiwan instead of building here. It would have been better if he built here. If we had a president that knew what they were doing, and we had a lot of them very bad on trade.
The stock market may be in a dip, but let's talk reality. Trump's tariffs are a calculated move to break the U.S. dependency on other nations and bring jobs back home. We'll see how this plays out, because a lot of businesses are already hurting from the situation, and the tariffs are just going in now. We got a chart here. It shows a tariff retaliation by Canada and Mexico would cause higher inflation than otherwise in all three countries. So basically, America down here, and this is how they would be now if the U.S., this is the U.S. with retaliation here, they would feel it more, about 0.75%. You can see on the side here is inflation. Canada being the purple one here, Canada with retaliations up to 3%, and Mexico at about 2.75 with retaliations over 4%. We got Mark Nixon with this one. It says Donald Trump has just published this right before the spring planting season for Canadian farmers. To the great farmers of the United States, get ready to start making a lot of agricultural product to be sold inside of the United States. Tariffs will go on external product on April 2nd. Have fun. So a lot of people in the comments here not happy with what Trump is doing. And these are Americans. And this person pointing out that Russia has the second largest reserve of potash or fertilizer, which fertilizer comes from Canada, 80%, I believe, Canada down to the United States. I don't know if they will sell it cheaper than Saskatchewan, but I'm sure it'll be tariffed just like potash from Canada. So food prices are going to go up in America, gas prices are going to go up in America, and Americans will probably get pissed off. Now, with all of this going on, this clip here, it's short, it's only 17 seconds, but it tells deals a lot. Donald Trump is asked about whether he'd do a deal with Argentina. Argentina is led by Milei, who has completely turned that country around. It was decimated, and he's brought it back from the brink by slashing everything, slashing all the DEI programs and all that stuff. Now, who do you think Trump would rather do a deal with? Canada, right next door, or Argentina?
You met with Argentine President Javier Milei at Cpac. He wants to sign a free trade agreement with the United States. Is that something that you would consider even with Argentina or any other country?
Anything. And Argentina, I think he's great, by the way. I think he's a great leader. He's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job.
He's doing a great job. He'll consider any deal. This really just goes to show that Donald Trump doesn't want to do deals with people he doesn't like. If the liberals get reelected, our country is screwed. That's basically what this is. He will only make a deal with Pierre Poilievre. Do you think Donald Trump is going to have a good relationship with Mark Carney, considering Trudeau was Carney's protege? 25% tariffs for Canadians. Canada's leadership is so dumb, but everything would be equal, and it isn't. Canada doesn't even survive as a concept without the USA. Jumping out here, we've got this article. It says Argentina's Milei praises Trump's plan for reciprocal tariffs. Argentinian President Javier Milei met with Donald Trump on the sidelines of a gathering U.S. conservatives Saturday, where he praised his American counterpart's reciprocal tariff plan that have shocked trading partners. He met with them in the end of February, so just a couple days ago, basically. Addressing the yearly Conservative Political Action Conference near Washington, the ultra-libertarian president often echoed Trump's positions as he attacked what he called a political class with a God complex. Trump, whom Milei sees as an ideological ally, has vowed to impose reciprocal tariffs beginning April 2nd, applying the same fee levels to imports that other countries place on U.S. products. Milei said he wanted to make Argentina the first country in the world to join this reciprocity agreement that the Trump administration has asked for in trade matters. Trump has also threatened to impose 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. Argentina would be one of the Latin American countries that would be affected the most. During their meeting, Milei and Trump discussed the Argentine leaders' groundbreaking economic reforms and developing closer ties with the nations, the White House said. It also added that Trump invited Milei to visit Washington in the coming months. So it goes on to say here that Milei has doubled down on Trump positions, approving the dismantling of the aid agency USAID, in words echoing a speech by Vice President J.D. Vance. Milei also defended dear friend Elon Musk. So if you haven't seen, Elon Musk was presented with a fancy chainsaw, which came from Milei. So with that song, I have to take off the audio, but so when he met with him here, he gave him this fancy chainsaw because he's cutting all this government spending. You can see it here. Look at this thing. That's quite the chainsaw. There's definitely a connection here with Elon and also with Milei praising Trump. Is it just this simple? Donald Trump is a guy who wants to be around people that like him, that praise him, that thinks he's a great guy. Is it that simple? It's hard for Pierre Poilievre right now because he can't come out and say he's a fan of Donald Trump or he supports his policies, because that'll drive away too many Canadians that are floating around in the middle left political spectrum. He also has to get his own mandate here in Canada. He has to become prime minister and go there from a place of strength, and then he can negotiate as two politicians on the right side of the spectrum. That's what's got to happen here. Pierre Poilievre's got to thread the needle a little bit here. It's not quite as simple because Milei's already sworn in. But it seems very clear. Donald Trump only wants to work with people he likes, and he hates the liberals. He hates Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau, and I'm sure he's not going to like Mark Carney either, considering he's wrapped up in with all those buffoons. We got Doug Ford went on American television. Listen to this. He is doubling down on pulling the plug on power in America. As it says here by Wall Street Mav, Ontario Premier Doug Ford threatens to commit an act of war and crimes against the United States. To be fair, Donald Trump's doing it to Canada first, but
we are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything. And I don't want to. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes and manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more.
I'm telling you, we will do it. That came right out of Doug Ford's mouth. He's going to shut off the power to Americans. I can't see any other retaliation but the military, the American military rolling into Ontario. Someone left a comment on the previous video saying, why don't they just put a 25% tariff on power that's being sold to America? And just looking this up, so Doug Ford can't actually do that, but he can just increase the price by 25% because this is a federal jurisdiction in regarding tariffs. So the Trudeau Liberals could put a tariff on it. The Canadian government has constitutional powers to impose tariffs on exports under the Customs Tariff Act. If it wanted to, Ottawa could introduce a special export duty on electricity sold to the U.S. Canada and U.S. are part of the USMCA, which prohibits arbitrary trade barriers. So this could potentially violate the agreement, but this is already violating the agreement with Trump tariffing Canada, so I don't think that really matters. It's interesting that the Trudeau Liberals aren't even talking about this option by just tariffing, increasing the price to America. Thus, their home heating instantly goes up and they feel that pressure. When it comes down to it, they have to pay it regardless because people need power in their houses. It's not something optional that people can stop buying a product like orange juice or whatever.
Electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario, and it's going to be a massive, massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Americans. Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does. And not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it.
And so,
I've yet to find one who supports him.
And so if I'm hearing you correctly, you are ready, sir, to go to war, to go to a trade war with the United States, with the Trump administration.
It's the last thing we want to do. It's one person that's coming to attack us economically. Your closest friend, your treasured ally that will stand shoulder to shoulder with you in every situation you faced. And he's attacking the person, his number one customer. There's no country in the world that buys more products off the U.S. than we do. We're the number one trading customer to 28 states. And a lot of them are red states. They're going to feel the pain like they've never felt before. We're going to feel the pain. But I'll tell you, Canadians are resilient, we're strong, we're proud, and we're going to fight back like they've never seen before.
This is a tough one, but as you saw in the previous graph, it's probably smarter to not counter tariff. Quickly try to pivot to having new buyers in other places than America. If Canada is able to start trading with ourselves and trading with Asia more and Europe more, and we don't need America as much anymore, this is just going to hurt them more and more.
And I'm sorry to the American people that your president has decided to do this. I apologize, but he's giving us no choice. There's nothing wrong with our trading. He keeps saying, oh, they're taking money. No, that's not accurate. Matter of fact, if you take out our oil, that you take 4.3 million barrels a day, and we keep things going, outside of that, take the energy to the side, you have a $55 billion surplus, which is good. That's fine. America has a $55 million process, and 55 billion more in trade, and God bless them. We want to expand the trade. We want to create an AMCAN fortress, the two greatest countries in the world.
That AMCAN fortress, I don't think that fortress is getting set up, Doug. That fortress doesn't even have a single brick in the foundation. We need help. The entire political class has been captured by WF-aligned goblins and kept in power by immigrants who vote for handouts. Facing setbacks after setback due to bad policy, they prop up the U.S. as the great evil to bolster their voter base to cling to power. Typical liberal hypocrisy, threatening the U.S. while pretending to be the moral authority. This isn't the battle that Canada's ready to take on. It can't survive without the United States. Yeah, we're going to get decimated in this, not America. They'll feel the pain. We'll get decimated. Time to get Parliament back in service here. Get rid of the interprovincial trade barrier. Start opening up trade with Asia and Europe. Start building pipelines. Like, enough of this bull crap in this country. These politicians have been using us and fleecing our bank accounts, enriching themselves, and now our country is really screwed. We got this one from Shazzy Goley. It says breaking 25% tariffs starts at midnight. Economists warn it could trigger a recession. Get ready with $155 billion in retaliatory tariffs. Economists warn that this could trigger a recession. situation. Ontario Premier threatens to cut off energy exports. Warren Buffett saying tariffs are an act of war. Bank of Canada saying no quick recovery if this drags on. Border street fentanyl seizures from Canada dropped 97%. Once again, this is still a major problem. We're not scanning enough. 97% drop of 1%. They're not scanning everything. So while that reduction is nice, we still have a lot of work to do on our border. Illegal migrant crossings are down 90%, but Trump still blames Canada. Now, I thought I'd just throw this in here from conservative Senator Leo Housakos. It says, with President Trump's 25% tariffs scheduled to kick in at midnight, have we considered stopping our exports of semiconductors to the U.S.?
Biggest supplier of semiconductors.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Mark Carney is just so stupid. People having a laugh here in the comments. Next up, we've got Howard Ludnick. This is Trump's border guy. As Ryan Garrettson says here, Canada's been doing a great job on border issues, but not enough on the street fentanyl situation.
What more can you tell us about these expected tariffs on Mexico and Canada and what the timetable is, immediate or phased out?
So remember, these tariffs were set because the border was wide open. We needed to close it, and we want our trading partners to close it. Why are we building a wall when the most important trading partner to Mexico and Canada is America? They should be more respectful to us. They should be stopping caravans. And that's what the president set these tariffs about. He said, stop the flow of immigration and stop the flow of fentanyl killing our people. 75,000 autopsy deaths of fentanyl in America. It's got to stop, and the president is trying to make sure that Mexico and Canada stop it.
Right.
I don't disagree with this. Just go after the Trudeau Liberals. Mark Carney, they're the ones who did this. Why come after Canadians? We have done nothing.
You even said in a previous interview, I just saw that you talked to Tom Homan. He said that they're doing a good job on the border. So what's changed over the last 48 hours? And what specific details can you tell us about these tariffs?
Okay, so the Mexicans and the Canadians have done a nice job on the border, meaning you have illegal crossings at their lowest level ever. So that's they're doing a good job. So that's why the president has to decide. Fentanyl deaths only down less than 15%. We really need to save Americans' lives. And the president really cares about saving Americans' lives. So they've got to get the fentanyl down. And that's really attacking the cartels and getting this down.
Unfortunately, Justin Trudeau seems to be helping the cartels. That's the problem. Once again, go after Justin Trudeau and the Liberals. Do it however you guys want to, because our government has been running our country into the ground for the past 10 years. But I guess the street fentanyl situation here is not up to snuff. No public announcement on what the so-called border czar has been doing. Working so hard at, is he even in the field or pushing from a desk? So I think she's talking about the street fentanyl czar. He had one meeting in America. Like, yeah, what exactly is he doing? Trudeau and the big Canadian banks are all in on the street fentanyl trade and the money laundering of billions of dollars of profit. I'm not going to disagree here with the opinion of unwoke media. We've also got Trump today talking about the situation with Zelensky. Apparently Zelensky said that the conflict is going to keep going on for a long, long time.
President Zelensky supposedly made a statement today in AP. I'm not a big fan of AP, so maybe it was an incorrect statement, but he said he thinks the war's going to go on for a long time. And he better not be right about that. That's all I'm saying.
He better not be right about that. Meanwhile, in Russia... What is going on here? Okay. On this episode of Far Off Ripoff, next up, we got $36,331 spent on enhancing visibility and understanding around lives of queer women in Nigeria through collection and dissemination of life stories. This is so dumb. Why? What is this? 36 grand in Nigeria for queer stories. That's what the Liberals spend our money on. There you have it. The madness is happening here in Canada. Some tariffs, it's complicated. Some of them are going in today, and some of them are going in on April 2nd, like the fertilizer stuff. And potentially they'll be doubling up of tariffs, some of them going from 25 to 50%. We'll see what happens here. This is absolute chaos because a Liberal leadership race has been going on. We haven't had a real prime minister. That will be coming to a close here soon. Just in a couple of days, we're getting rid of Justin Trudeau. Mark Carney will step in there. And I'm guessing he's going to be calling a snap election where we'll get to see him go toe-to-toe with Pierre Poilievre. The Conservatives will win and finally take back our country. And then maybe we can have some real negotiations with America.